where we were like, no, I don't accept that outcome. And we pushed and we got it. Everybody has something like, and that's the formula. That's how you got to get it. But you got to recognize that, because when the door slams, it's going to hurt. That door slamming on your face hurts.
This
Right.
is Unconditioning, Discovering the Voice Within, with Whitney and Jenkins. Hello, and welcome to the 41st episode of Unconditioning, Discovering the Voice Within, where I bring on guests and we talk about the inner authentic voice and the challenges and the rewards that come from following it. This week, I have with me Neo Positivity. Neo has a really interesting story. Neo started out in New Jersey as a police officer. He came across law of attraction techniques, applied them to his life, and he was able to retire from his career as a police officer to Florida and create his dream life, and sharing this story and techniques with other people to empower them and show them how that they can take control of their own destiny. I had a really great time talking to Neo, diving deep into the law of attraction and how it connects with our authenticity and our inner voice. And this really needs no other introduction. You'll hear through the compelling conversation that we have. Here is Neo Positivity.
Let's get rock and roll. That's how you get the juicy, the good out of me.
Okay. The first time that you realized that you had an inner voice of your own, an intuition, and it wasn't influenced by anyone around you or your environment, but you could really recognize that it was your own voice, and that it was purely you.
I have to say that was at a very early age. I was in situations growing up in the hood that required me to listen to that voice,
Hmm.
and use my intuition to get out of situations because I was too inexperienced. I didn't even know anything about the drug game or any of that, or crime or robbery or anything. So I couldn't come up with solutions to get out. I had to use my intuition, and it worked every time. So I was like, it was kind of a blind faith relationship that I had with it that I still maintain.
Okay. Did you have anyone in your life to show you or guide you to live that way, or is that something that you just innately had on your own?
I'm gonna say it's something I developed on my own. It was just me, my father, and my sister, and he worked a lot. He was a police officer in New Jersey, and they weren't really allowed to take days off. So yeah, it was me in the streets. I learned day by day.
Yeah. And so you have a really interesting trajectory of your life journey. And in order to get to where you are now, a lot of things had to happen in between. So, would you like to share a moment that was significant in that pivot for you?
When I learned about the law of attraction, that was the most significant pivot in my entire life. Um, because for one, it didn't even seem like a pivot. I didn't know I was on a path. It was just life was happening, and it showed me this shift that I could make, to the rest of my life if I played by the rules, and one of the rules being play by the rules often. And so I learned quickly how to use the law of attraction, and then it just became an explosion and started to work for me. I would just point at stuff and it would just literally come at me, and it's been that way every single day since the movie I saw, The Secret. Um, I guess it's kind of weird because with the law of attraction, you're using it your whole life. So yes, I was using it before that, but this is the first time I was conscious of it and pointing it in a direction, like a sniper rifle, as opposed to just throwing energy out into different flower pots. I like to consider it, and watching what grows.
Yeah, was there a specific moment or occurrence that happened with the law of attraction for you that you were like, whoa, okay, this is really working for me?
Yeah, I actually, right on the top of my door in the entryway to my office is this huge feather. In the movie The Secret, they ask you to think about a butterfly or a feather, whichever one you don't see a lot. And I always saw butterflies because where I was, we had cocoons and they would just be everywhere. It was beautiful. But I rarely ever saw feathers. I don't know why. I just didn't. And the next day after seeing the movie, I went outside and I was going somewhere and there was this huge, like 12-inch feather, I'd say 12 or 13 inches. And it was just slightly tucked into the windshield wiper, just dangling to the point where I had to like run up and grab it before it, flew on the floor. And I was just like, I did that. Like I materialized that. And I was like, well, wait, I didn't materialize it. Like it just appeared in my windshield wiper. But it's even better because you know what it took for that bird to be at the exact spot, and it's that feather to be disconnected just enough,
Mhm.
and for the wind to take it, because it was always 13-mile-an-hour winds in Jersey. So for the wind to carry it to my windshield wiper and hold it
Wow.
there long enough for me to get to it, that was the point where I was like, I can do anything with this. And immediately I set my sights on retirement. That second, I set my sights on retirement, and 8 months later, I was retired.
Wow. And you were a police officer, right?
Camden City, New Jersey, yes.
And were you able to use, you must have used your intuition within that job a lot, I would imagine.
Yes, yes, yes. Because I definitely wasn't the smartest cop. We had some geniuses out there, and in different areas. We had guys that had license plates memorized, which is crazy. But we had guys who were real good at, doing drug lockups, where to hide, where to go, where to be at. I was never the best in all of that, but I definitely followed my intuition. Um, I think better than everybody else because I ended up in a better situation, than everybody else. And I tried to bring them out, but it's hard to implement the law of attraction to certain people. You just kind of got to you can't force it on them. You got to sit back and hope they come around.
Yeah. So going back a little bit, what inspired you to join the police force? Was that something within your family, or how did
It
it
was
come?
it was crazy because it was a fallback plan. It was a And when you think about it, it was an $86,000 a year full benefits pack, pension package as a fallback plan. I
Wow.
never even thought about it like that before. But my initial plan was the NFL, which was millions. So this was obviously, way, way, way less than that. So yeah, it was a fallback plan. NFL didn't work out. My dad was a sergeant. A couple of my cousins were cops. My sister was a dispatcher, and he was just like, "Listen, you need benefits." I was having my first child, my daughter, and he was like, "You need benefits. You gotta, at least get, join the police academy, get the benefits." So took the test, scored very high, went to the academy, absolutely killed it, and yeah, that's where it all started.
Okay. So you said that you retired 8 months after that moment with the feather. And so, what prompted you to do that? Did that just happen like step by step, or did you make a decision that you were done with that career and you were ready
Well,
for something else?
I always knew that the 9 to 5 wasn't for me. Like my first job at McDonald's, I was like, "Yo, this is not for me." And I know nobody, everybody has that moment where like I don't want to work anymore, but this was different. This was not for me. It was like, driving a motorcycle. If you're terrified of them, you get on them and you're just like, not doing that again. And so getting out of work obviously was the number one priority, and using the law of attraction, I can create my future. I was going to get out of any job whatever job I was in, I was going to like that was going to be the last one. And it just so happened to be the police department, and I just obsessively tried different things. I would watch videos and this celebrity would say that, or Oprah or Bill Gates or Steve Jobs, they would say something about the law of attraction, and I started to really study everybody I could, and I began to come up with my own mental exercises based off of the best of everybody, scrapping the stuff that might not work. It only worked for her, but not for him. I kept the best, and it started to produce like crazy. And then the beginning of November, I came up with this exercise I call the Watcher exercise. I think on November 2nd or 3rd, and by the 28th was my last day of work. It was and still remains one of my most powerful producers that I've come up with.
Wow. Would you like to share that?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I
I
would
like
like
to
you to
wa-
share that.
I like to walk through the story, give you a full detail of what happened, but I'll make it quick. I was taking this government test, and I was in a room, small room, one table, one door, no windows. wasn't like cameras or microphone or anything like that. So when I got done the test, I got up, and when I was walking out, I kind of like tripped over the table. And when I stumbled, I kind of like looked over my shoulder and up and like smiled, and I felt embarrassed that I had just like tripped in front of someone, something. But like I said, I'm in a room by myself. And I realized that that something that I felt saw me trip, I've felt that watching essence before, like something was watching me. And so I started thinking anybody could have this feeling. Everybody's felt like something was watching them before, but there wasn't anything. And I like to study things that everybody has in common, like no matter what country you go to, well, we all laugh, you
Right.
know. So I said, I'm gonna study this. And not online or picking up books. When I study things, I study in my mind. And so I sat back and I wanted to just feel that watching presence. And for anyone who says they don't know what I'm talking about, and I know a lot of people do say this, what I usually do in this situation is if I'm talking to somebody and they say, I don't know what you're talking about, watching, I don't feel anything, I say, hold on, don't move. And I go behind them, I set my phone on the bookshelf, and then I come back. Remember, they didn't see me do that. I come back and I say, okay, go ahead, finish talking. And as soon as they start talking, I say, wait, just so you know, my phone's behind you and we're live streaming. Go ahead. And then they stop and they're like, you know, and then they kind of like almost turn around, and that's when they can feel my phone recording the back of their head. And then I
Mm.
show them my phone's not even on. And then they're
Mhm.
like, oh man, and the feeling goes away. So that's the watcher feeling I'm talking about. So I wanted to study this feeling by having it. So I sat down and I felt the watcher watching me. I, you know, pretended like a camera was watching, was filming me or whatever. And the first thing I noticed immediately was that that watching presence knew that I was watching it. It knew that I was planning to watch it. Not only that, it knew every thought I had ever thought. Like, I don't know how I knew. I just knew that this watching presence knew everything I was thinking. And I said to myself, watching me at all times, even when I'm not paying attention to it, watch me, knows all my thoughts. If I'm right, you know, this sounds like God. And if I'm right, this is the first we as humans will be able to like interact and feel uh God. And I was like, man, I could be onto something big. And so what I did after that, I started doing what I call compound exercises. Mental exercises like visualization is an exercise. To compound that, I'll go to the park with my son. I'll put my toes in the sand and I'll close my eyes and visualize that I'm on a beach. Now I have the visualization plus a physical feeling of my toes in the sand. The sun is on my face. So I'm compounding exercises. So I take that exercise and I bring the watcher in. Now my toes are in the sand. I'm on the beach, and the watcher is watching me enjoy being on the beach. Now you're adding in an extra exercise. And so what I did was I added that to my retirement exercises I was doing, like holding a check, you know, in my hand, or something that says I'm retired, retirement letter, or something in the retirement, something that I would be doing had I been retired already. That's the key. You got to see it as though it's already happened, not like
Right.
it's going to happen. So anything that would you know, was a symbol of me being retired already, I would enjoy that thing with the watcher watching me, and that took it to the next level because I had been doing the same exercises for all 8 months. It was just the last month where I added in the watcher exercise, and it was done. After that, I went for custody of my kids. I'm still the only guy I know from Jersey who's ever been able to get custody of his kids. Got a Super Bowl ring, my pilot's license. I moved to Florida. It's just I literally just been pointing at things, big things, small things, and I use the same type of formulas to get all of it. And then I throw a summit because since I learned the law of attraction, I just been interviewing one coach at a time, selfishly, because I want your techniques. I want everything you got. I can use it for myself.
Right. Yeah.
But along the way, I would, you know, if I got something good, that I would field test with my friends and family and made sure it worked with someone, no matter if you're male, female, tall, short, fat, skinny, whatever religion, it has to work with everybody. And once it does, I'll do a video on Facebook. So I've been doing that for 12 years. And last year I said, instead of interviewing one person at a time, let me throw a summit. We just have a bunch of people there, all just exchanging ideas. Because when me and you talk, we're going to end up coming up with a new idea. We're gonna bounce ideas off each other. I call it a beautiful tennis match. We're gonna bounce ideas off each other, like hitting the ball back and forth. But every now and then the balls will collide, and a new idea will be birthed that we'll both be able to walk away from this, meeting with. And imagine that with 5, 6 people all
Yeah.
shooting ideas at each other. And so that's when Neo Positivity's Thoughts Become Things Summit was born last January. We just had our 1 year anniversary like 2 weeks ago. It's going strong. Every single time there's more people involved, better ideas. And I just think it's a great thing, to do in my spare time.
In your spare time. Yeah, that's fantastic. So I've heard a lot of people talk about The Secret actually, and how they say that it doesn't really work and it's not very effective because they're probably not doing it correctly and putting all of those compounded components together. And so, what is your interpretation of the secret of the secret?
Me doing those compound exercises just means I'm using the secret more defined and more accurately. Everybody's using it, whether they think so or not, with every single thought that they have. And the reason why they say it's not working is because when something bad happens, they say, I didn't manifest that car accident. I didn't manifest my grandma dying. Well, that's the thing. You might not have thought about that car accident, but you've been thinking about something that was causing you pain in your chest and agony over the past couple of weeks, months, days, whatever it is that led up to that. And as far as like your grandma dying, age is age. You knew it was coming. Every thought has a foundation like a house.
Hmm.
And you could paint the walls as pretty as you want and put nice furniture up, but if the foundation is crap, it's crap. If you're broke till next Friday, you could say, I'm rich, all you want, but every single foundation is going to be a brokenness. And every time you think about your 97-year-old grandma, you're going to remember that she's 97. So that's one of the biggest parts of law of attraction is accepting that you are a result of your previous thoughts. That's Einstein right there. And once you get that true acceptance, then you start to own your stuff. Once you
Right.
start to own your stuff, when stuff happens, my son gets in trouble in school, I can sit back and think to myself, what did I do to manifest this in my life? Collective energy, he played a part. Everyone who knows my son and how he's messing up played a part because they're all watering that seed, I like to say. They're all giving off the energy of that. But what did I do to manifest that into my life? And it's simple. Every time somebody asks me about my son, my first words are, man, this boy. And so I'm basically setting this up. So I got to change the narrative. He's got to change the narrative. Everybody has to change the narrative in order to collectively, improve the world.
Right.
Work on ourselves, work on the people around us. The world is going to crap. It's getting worse. We got to change that up. We
And
have to.
yeah. And so when you identify like what happened in order for that to manifest, like something that occurred that you thought perhaps, what is your process of going into that thought or moment or occurrence and transmuting it so that it's no longer a shadow?
That is a very, very good detailed question. And the reason why I say a detailed answer, I mean, the reason why I say that is because you would have to, in order to effectively do what you're saying,
Hmm.
you're going to have to do a lot of mental work in changing how you see things. Because bad news is going to happen, emails, phone calls, whatever. And when it hits you, if you see that subject differently, you're going to filter it and feel differently about the bad news. And so now you're talking about feeling your oneness with God or whoever you believe in, acknowledging your ability to create your future and having confidence in that. So to answer your question, how I deal with those situations, I start off by handing it back. It's a whole routine, I guess I go through, but I hand it back. When I get bad news, I look at it like, somebody just handed me a piece of paper. Okay, all right, well, handle it. I hand it right back to them. Handle that. And the crazy thing about that is that's sounds very hard to do because it has to be taken care of. Somebody's got to handle it. You can't just imaginary hand it back to the universe. I promise you, try it. Your phone will ring 5 minutes from now and that problem will be solved and you didn't do anything. And yeah, it's a huge problem. It's going to take more watering of seeds and more confidence in the law of attraction. But you get what I'm saying. It just works out that way. So when I go and hand that slip back, like the universe handed me bad news and I just hand it back, in between now and when my phone rings, there's some things I'm going to have to do. I'm going to have to see this situation as though it's fixed now. I'm going to have to also run a scenario on how to fix it. But run a scenario once and get out. Don't dwell on it for the next 48 hours and tell everybody about your problem and how you plan on. No, run your best. This is how I would fix it if everything went to the crap. That's how I would fix it. Done. Now I'm going to spend all of my energy dollars. Every moment you're here, just think of God's giving you one energy dollar for every moment that you're here. What will you spend it on? Drama, pain, and whatever you spend it on, it will be arriving on your doorstep like a package from Amazon. So once you wake up from that moment, you have to choose where to spend your energy dollars wisely. And I suggest you spend them on that problem being solved in the easiest, most smooth manner there is. And then once you do that, use that to strengthen your confidence in the law of attraction and your ability to get through more problems. So it's a lot involved.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's definitely an act of surrender within there
Oh
to
yeah.
to let go of wanting to solve the problem. What happens? You say that you address the problem and how you would solve it, but what happens when you are unable to see a way in which to solve a problem? How would you address that?
There's always a way. There's always a way. If you can give me any problem right now, and I could. All right. I'm sorry. Let me back up. If you're talking about a way as far as the middleman, how you're going to get to the solution, skip that. Cut that out. No matter how much you try to play God and determine what's going to happen to get you to the end result, you're going to be wrong at least by one small detail. So stop trying. End result. See the end result. However the problem came out, best case scenario ending. That is all you need to see. And then you ask yourself, how would it feel to have this done? How would it feel to be in this situation? And it just change up the narrative. And I love how would it feel to, that's a whole mental exercise in itself. Because if you say the problem solved, I'm so happy, and you're doing all these affirmations, the ego's going to step in and say, no, it's not. You haven't even made the phone call yet. But if you ask a question like, how would it feel to be taken care of? The ego has to step back and let the subconscious honestly answer the question. And it gives you a sense of, like, all right, it's taken care of. At that moment, you're watering a seed of it being taken care of
Hmm.
and pulling that future, that reality closer towards you. But the second you stop thinking about it being taken care of and you start worrying about it again, now you're pulling that reality closer towards you.
Yeah, have you ever had a scenario in which you were trying to law of attract something and there was a challenge that you met along the way of that was interfering, that you needed to keep the faith and work through that in order to get to the other side of it, to get to the manifestation?
I'm going to say one of my most famous quotes that I had developed early on. No matter what you ask for in life, you will be shown, if not proven, that you cannot have it. And how you respond to that emotionally determines if and when you get it. So doors are going to close on your face, some harder than others. If you want a cheeseburger, you'll meet a light obstacle. You want $1 million, you're going to meet several huge obstacles,
Hmm.
depending on how you feel that $1 million is to obtain, easy or hard. Because remember, it's the law of attraction. If you think it's going to be easy, it's going to be easy. We see millionaires all the time making money out of nowhere. But if you think it's going to be hard, which most of us do, because most of us have never been there, despite all of our trying, it's going to be hard. So that plays a factor in it too. Like I said, no matter what you ask for, doors will close. And it's how you respond to that emotionally determines if you get it and when you get it. So when a door closes, if you go on Facebook and cry to everybody, oh my God, my boss fired me. My boyfriend broke up with me, whatever the situation is, if you go and cry about it, then you know what's going to happen. But we've all had something happen in our life where we were like, no, I don't accept that outcome. And we pushed and we got it. Everybody has something like, and that's the formula. That's how you got to get it. But you got to recognize that, because when the door slams, it's going to hurt. That door slamming on your face hurts.
Right.
But you got to take it the right way. And don't let it linger. The more second, that initial shock, when that initial news hits you, that's everything. You got to catch it sooner than later. And that the brain is a muscle, has muscle memory. You have to condition your brain to catch it sooner than later through practice. If you don't get good at that, you're not going to be good at that. That's for one. It's like jogging. People think of it like a black belt. Once you're zen, once you're enlightened, you're enlightened. No, it's not like a black belt. Once it's yours, it's yours. It's like jogging. If you stop doing it for a couple of weeks, you're going to suck at it.
Yeah, it's a practice like everything else.
Yeah.
An exercise.
Yeah. All of these. And speaking of exercises, if you're going to go to the gym and do 2 hours a day and work on your body, you need to do 2 hours a day working on your mind.
Hmm.
If you went in the gym and did 10 curls on your right arm and walked out, how much healthier would you be? Not that much healthier.
Yeah.
So you can't do an affirmation, say, I love life 10 times a day and expect to be a millionaire by Wednesday. That's not how it works. 60 to 70 thoughts, 60 to 70,000 thoughts on average per day per person. And you want to make at least 51% of those positive just to have a positive day. That's a lot. That's a lot of waking up, too much waking up for one person. So you have to work on your autopiloted thoughts, the ones that are running in the background. Work on them. That way they work for you. Watering seeds, the seeds that you want.
Yeah, you said that you've been at this for 12 years now.
Over 13
For
plus.
13 plus. Okay, and you post videos on Facebook. So Facebook's an interesting place as far as shock and reaction and taking things in and sort of not thinking about what you're taking in also. So what are your thoughts of the collective and how this is affecting us as far as what your beliefs are?
I don't scroll down on Facebook. I post and get out. Sad. I know it's sad, but I know what I'm gonna see. Man, I know I have to expect better. I have to manifest better, but that's one thing I haven't been able to do. So when I go on Facebook, I literally post and get out.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I mean, you're gonna get caught in someone else's rabbit hole. Some people, I know a lot of law of attraction people who used to be real political, but they had to get out of that game because that mindset, because it was just drawing too much negativity. Those people are like drug addicts or or like get people with gambling problems because they'll scroll down and they can't help it. They have to put that comment there,
Right.
and then they comment and they leave it alone. They turn it off, and then they go to the bathroom. They come back. Oh, my phone's got a notification, and they open it. Oh no, he didn't. And now they're in it.
Hmm.
Emotionally, they're talking about Trump for the next 6 hours, battling on Facebook. My father, he has to remove himself from Facebook for weeks at a time just because of that. And it's sad. The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle calls it the pain body. There's a certain amount. We have a thing called a pain body inside of us, and it has an appetite. It needs to eat a certain amount every day,
Yeah.
and it will eat. It will find other people's pain bodies. They will feed off each other through an argument. It's like, you ever had an argument that just stopped for no reason. You just were done with it. All of the arguments basically end like that. That means the pain body is done eating. You can't let it take you over. You put it on a diet. You starve it to where it doesn't have to eat that much every day. And you don't let it run your life.
Yeah. You were mentioning that going to the gym for 2 hours needed to be equated with working on your mind for 2 hours. So, what is your advice for making sure that people are able to fit that in to their life when they have all of these distractions of things like Facebook? Like, how can they
Mental
integrate that?
Set alarms and reminders. I've got over 40 alarms that go off throughout the day. I'm good at this, and I still got those alarms just because days are just busy sometimes. But these reminders, they're to do like mental check-ins, mental exercises. But mental check-ins is a great exercise. It's basically just, what has my vibe been like today? And do I need to change it? That is a great mental exercise to do. Here's the thing about mental exercises. Remember to do them is the hardest part.
Yeah.
Days will go by where you just forget. That's the hardest part. If you can just get yourself to remember to wake up, that's when you make the choice of what I'm gonna do. Okay, am I gonna do an affirmation? What affirmation am I gonna do? I struggle here because I ask myself, all right, what affirmation am I gonna do? What do I want to improve in my life today? Oh wait, I gotta answer this email. And then I don't get it done. So literally it becomes a thing to where I kind of screw myself. So just say yes 10 times. Or just say thank you 10 times. You're gonna find something amazing. By the third time you say it, you're smiling. By the sixth or seventh time you say it, your brain is throwing at you reasons to say yes. Yes. And that's what you want. You want to be in that headspace. You want to be sending that signal off. You want to be giving off that vibration so the universe gives you another reason to say yes in the future. So these are things you're going to have to do more often than not. The less you do them, it's like jogging. The less you do them, the more suckier you'll be at maintaining a positive mindset. The more you do it, and the more your brain will cause you to do them. Everything is with this whole brain is a muscle. It has muscle memory thing. When the negative scenario kicks in and you catch it immediately, the more you do that, the better you get at doing it. Your brain will do it for you.
Yeah.
And so all these things work together to develop this perfect mind where you're at bliss and peace throughout the day. And in order for you to be at bliss and peace, the universe has to make you okay financially. It has to make your next meal secure. And it has to make the people that you love and care about around you happy too, because then that would make you sad.
Right.
So this is what you do. You do this, you do these things, and then the universe will respond accordingly.
What are your thoughts about mental health and issues like depression? And how can someone use these techniques if they're in that state?
I got called to basically a guy on a ledge jump type situation. And the first thing I said to him, I didn't even introduce myself. I just said, they haven't been nice to you, have they? And he was like, who? I said, your thoughts. And I had him. I had him from there. And then I told him, don't ever call me for this again. I don't want to be in that situation. But yeah, I had him at that point. It all goes back to muscle memory. Like I said, if you're depressed because your brain is throwing at you what it's used to throwing at you, you have to change what it's used to throwing at you. The same repetition that got those depression type thoughts, you're going to use that same repetition to get them out of your head. It's going to be tough at first. You're going to have to meditate, learn how to meditate. I'll give you a quick cheat code. It took me 16 days to learn how to meditate. And I didn't get it till the 16th or the 15th or 16th day. I said, I'm so happy and thankful that I know how to meditate. I'm so happy and thankful that I'm good at meditating. I'm so happy and thankful that I enjoy meditating. So I used the law of attraction to manifest being able to meditate after 16 days of trying my butt off and failing. I finally used the law of attraction. So that's my cheat code to everything. I'm so happy and thankful that ... Once you learn to meditate, though, you're quiet in your mind. People who are depressed, their brain is going. It's been going a mile a minute for their whole lives. They don't know how to stop it. They don't know how to shut it down. It's like shooting a BB gun at a freight train. In order to learn how to quiet your mind and stay in that quiet headspace and keep your thoughts at bay, you have to practice being in that quiet mind frame and keeping your thoughts at bay. So that's going to help subside your brain throwing at you all this stuff. But then you have to condition it, change the narrative, and condition your brain to give you a different narrative. And that comes with seeing. The only way you're really going to be able to do that is seeing your situation differently. Because if your depressing situation isn't changing and you're trying to change your mind about it, it's not going to work unless you see that situation differently. Yeah. And that's what you got to do. Work on seeing the situations differently. That deals with being one with God. You know, I like to ask people, how much money do you have in imagination land? $10 million. I say, that's it? $100 million. That's it? $1 trillion. And I'm like, couldn't you give $1 trillion to everyone on the planet and still have not even tapped into your resources up here? And they're like, wow, I never thought about it like that. So you are unlimited over there. You can make anything you want. God could take your life right now, but he can't stop you from thinking about a red apple on the table. You have God-like control in the mental world, and that world dictates what's going to happen in this world. So what does that make you to this world? You know, and I to the physical world, I should say. And you know, I like to hit people with stuff like that just to strengthen their confidence in their ability to create their future. If I can get you to believe you're one with God, you know you're going to create your future. You wouldn't screw yourself. You wouldn't put yourself down a bad path. And so it's like stuff like that gives you the confidence to know that this situation I'm in right now is a result of my previous thoughts, like Einstein said. I know that I can shape my next thoughts. I know that my future depends on me staying positive. And that's key. I use fear to get people to do their mental exercises. Because if you know your negative thoughts are going to screw you next week, you're going to try to stop having them. So it's a whole mental workaround.
Yeah, the guy was really lucky to have you come along and sort of change his perspective of that moment and his thoughts. But there's a lot of young people too, also, who are scrolling through Instagram and comparing themselves. And so, what are your thoughts about kind of jolting them out of that and changing their perspective?
Oh man, comparison is a beast because it's a feeling of lack. People think they're not good enough. They should do this. They should do that. I had to tell my son wanted to be Justin Bieber a long time ago. And I said, you're never going to be Justin Bieber. Only Justin Bieber can be Justin Bieber, but you can be the best Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
And the best Antonio might be better than Justin Bieber if he works hard enough. So you know, and then you see Justin Bieber in the news getting in trouble. His was going to crap back then, and you don't want that. Same for I tell people Chadwick Boseman, the guy who played Black Panther. Every black person I know would have given their right arm to be Chadwick Boseman. Well, now he's dead.
Mm-hmm.
Would you still have given your right arm to be him, knowing that he had less than a year left on this earth to enjoy his success with the Avengers and all that other stuff? And so when you can get someone to really appreciate who they are, I got several different methods. I do this thing with Play-Doh where I mold up I lay it out flat like a pancake, like a long pancake, and I kind of pull up two figures. I give them arms and legs, and I say, all right, that's Dick and Jane, you know, like from the old books. And then I let them do their thing, and I say, you just created a whole scenario. You know, are they brothers and sisters? Are they together? Do they fight? You know, however you just saw those two people, you just gave them whole storylines and whole universes and jobs and all the other stuff. And then I smash them back down, and I'm like, it was never two people. It was always just one. And that's us. We are all just, everything that exists is just one vibrating energy wave. You're vibrating at a different frequency where you're at than I am over here, but we are all one. So for me to want money, because money is just vibrating energy, for me to want money is for me to want something that doesn't exist for one, because everything exists is just on this one wave. So for me to want money is outside of me is for me to want something that doesn't exist, and it's an unobtainable goal. And for me to want to be like someone outside of me, that person doesn't exist. So it's an unobtainable goal. That person I'm looking at on Facebook that I want to be like is the same as me. It is my essence, my life's essence being expressed in another part of the planet in another way. So it's different, like I said, it's different workarounds, different ways of seeing things, so that when you do get into a situation where you're envious of your neighbor and you look at yourself and you're like, okay, what is it about this situation I'm upset with? Am I mad because he has the car, or am I mad because I don't have that car? What do I have to do to get that car? What would I have to do to get that car? What kind of person would I have to become to get that car? Am I willing to make those changes? Once you can condition your mind to go down that rabbit hole, as opposed to that depression, I want his car, screw him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's two different ways. Those are two different minds I just explained doing two different paths. And what I try to do is get people to go down the one path. And that path will lead you to questions. Once you ask questions in your mind like that, the universe, God, whatever you believe in will answer those questions. What do I got to do to get that car? What kind of person would I have to become? Would I have to change jobs? Da 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 da. And so it's total mind makeover. It takes a while to do. It takes a lot of effort, but it yields the greatest reward, which is the ability to create your future. You know, it's definitely not easy. It's definitely controlling one's thoughts is the hardest occupation a man could have, according to both science and religion. So it's definitely not easy, but it yields the best reward.
Yeah. And your son is witnessing you as you are creating your life in this path. Is he following along with your ways, or is he a little resistant? How is he accepting?
I would say that he's said for me a bunch of times. He said to me that the law of attraction doesn't work for him, and it just kills me when people say that because it's working right now. You manifested it not working for you, quote unquote, because it still worked. But it's like if you, let's say you wanted to manifest a cheeseburger, but you knew wholeheartedly the manifesting doesn't work, you're going to manifest that cheeseburger not coming to you. You get what you expect deep down inside. So unfortunately, he hasn't openly adapted the concept the way other family members have. However, I will say this, for the things that go right in his life, he's giving 100% credit to the law of attraction. You know,
Mm,
I did that. I did that.
yeah.
Yeah, confidence. So, and that's most people. Most people on the earth believe in the law of attraction halfway. They believe in it for the good stuff because I did that, but not for the bad stuff because I didn't do that. I haven't been watering that seed. So, you know, that's that 50-50. So, and you can't, like I said, you can't force the law of attraction on people. They're just going to have to come around. All I can do is show him daily how I'm using it to my advantage and hope that you know, decides to take on some of these exercises himself.
Yeah, by example.
Definitely. Well, I'm trying to teach the law of attraction to a 3-year-old. Well, he's 4 now, but he was 3 when I was really trying to implement it. Trying to teach the law of attraction to someone who doesn't know what a thought is can be difficult. You literally just, that's all you can do is lead by example. And then I can see him doing some of the things like when he stubs his toe or falls or fails at something, he's trying to build Legos. I can see where he takes it in his mind. And I'm like, all right, now I know I've done that and I've done good. But if I do this, I'll produce better. He'll produce better. And then it's like a little, because I'm stay-at-home dad, basically daddy daycare. So it's like I'm just studying him. Like I want to make him the perfect law of attraction machine. I didn't know all this with my other 2 kids. So with him, I'm just trying to, I have an opportunity, a unique opportunity to mold him
Yeah.
into a law of attraction wielding beast, and I'm on it.
Yeah, that's got to be interesting. I feel, how do you feel that we collectively are taking these concepts right now and using them either to our advantage or not to our advantage, as far as the direction of everything going in the world at the moment?
I'll take it back. I'll go back to Stone Ages with this. No, the planet has been around for billions of years, and it'll be around for billions of years after us. It will evict mankind before it allows us to destroy it. Mother Nature has the power to do it, and it will do it before it allows us to destroy it. So as people, we've been doing bad for a while. As far as trying to destroy the earth, we're getting worse and worse at it. So I see the only way for us not to get evicted is through the opposite of the negative that we're doing to the planet, which is the positive. This is the way out. The law of attraction is the only way that mankind's going to stay on this earth. Um, we're progressing. Uh, the universe gave us the mail system so that we can communicate effectively. Then it gave us the internet so we can communicate faster. And now it's giving us social media so we can communicate emotionally. All of this is leading up to the spreading of information, which was the mail system, the spreading of it fast, which was the internet, and the spreading of emotion with that information, which is social media. We've been going in very clear steps, and the next step is for us to transition into a different kind of person, a different kind of society, where we're more positive. Even the negative people see their family members getting all the toys they want. They're going to try the law of attraction. It's going to work, and they're going to shift. You're going to see a huge shift in the planet soon, and I'm ready for it. That's what I've been working towards. So I'm actually excited about it. It seemed like it was years off before, but then I saw a couple things happening. You know, the law of attraction starting to spread. People starting to talk about it. There's summits that are happening. A lot of people I talk, like I wear this shirt. This shirt says "Thoughts Become Things." I wear it everywhere I go, and the amount of people that come up to me and say, "I love your shirt," or "My parents taught me that." It's a great number of people, and it's increasing every day. So I'm feeling very confident that the planet is adjusting. And shows like this that are spreading awareness, shout out, to Whitney for doing all this for us. So definitely I'm hopeful and optimistic about it.
Yeah, there's some good signs of hope coming.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. But it all comes with I have to, and you have to, and we all have to see the world getting better fast.
Right.
Because I was seeing it happen in 20, 30 years. I teach everything I know to my son, and he becomes the next Messiah or something like that. But now I'm like, yo, there's a turning point. There's a turning point. If my summit reached enough people, it would flip the country upside down.
Right.
Because they'd share it. And once they shared it, it would multiply and then multiply. And then you got, like the Nene. One person does a nay-nay and it takes the freaking country by storm. We couldn't do that. There's no other time in mankind's history that we could do that. We've been given that. And we've got this gift of the law of attraction that just seems to work. And the crazy thing is, people are into it. Spirit. Put it this way. When I came to Tampa, I didn't have any friends. I lived in Camden County, New Jersey my whole life. Came to Tampa, didn't know anybody. So I went to all these networking events. Every single networking event I went to, out of 40 people, as soon as I walked in the room, 4 people stood out immediately. Her, him, her, and her just stood out. I didn't go talk to them right away. I let the night progress. I went and I shook hands with everybody and I talked to everybody. But by the end of the night, us 4 were in the corner talking about the law of attraction. Mm-hmm. At every single event I went to, this happened. And I was like, that's something special. That's something special. So something like that's happening on the planet, it means something.
Yeah, we're going to start operating more on an energetic vibrational level and be more aware of that, I feel like.
Yeah. It's already happening, but we just need to increase a little. We need to turn up the dial a little bit.
Yeah. So if people would like to discover more about you and your work and your summits and all of that you offer the world so graciously, where can they find you?
Neopositivity.com is my main website. From there, you'll see the summit. You'll see all the Facebook, all the tags. It's just Neopositivity. Everything is just on the homepage of my website. And you get registered for the summit. I always love to have new speakers on, whether you're new to the law of attraction or a seasoned veteran. It doesn't matter. Your opinion is valued because you come in there, you share your experience, and then people are like, I remember when I was at that point. Try this. Mm-hmm. And then other rookies in the game hear you're going through the same thing, and they're like, all right, so it's not just me. There is an answer. So everyone's welcome, and it's just a great atmosphere. And it's the third Saturday of every month from noon to 4 p.m. Eastern time. And what I love about it is when I'm done, I feel amazing. Everyone leaves that Zoom call or wherever we do it, StreamYard, and they just feel excited and amazed about the future and what they're going to do with their life. And that's the best part about it.
Yeah, excellent. So to wrap up, I usually ask one last question. And that is, if your inner authentic voice had a billboard, what would it say to the world?
Thoughts become things. Stay focused. It's written on my wristband. I got poker.
Yeah,
that's what it is. Yeah,
that one was pretty easy. Yeah.
I've been asked that like 12 times this week, and I can't find a better answer. I guess that's why I have it written on every shirt that I wear.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining me this week. If you're listening and you like what you hear, please consider subscribing and rating this podcast, as it really helps get this podcast out to other people who might be interested in hearing it but don't know about it yet. And also, if you'd like to contact me or reach me, you can reach me at unconditioningpodcast@gmail.com, or Unconditioning Podcast on Instagram. Thank you so much, and until next time, stay tuned in to you.